Battle of Austerlitz opening setups. We will start in the south. We see Kienmeyer's Austrians, his Grenzers, and some light cavalry screened behind the forest opposite Telnitz, with the French 3rd Infantry Regiment occupying the village. Back a ways, Austerlitz light cavalry. So these are the main force charged with capturing Telnitz. They will be unassisted by any other coalition forces. Slightly north and at the very edge of the game map, we have Doktorov's first column. Notice the large line of artillery and a very distinct lack of cavalry. One regiment of Cossacks. Now they have to go all the way over there. Their objective is to march through this sparsely wooded area and take Solkonitz and the Pheasantry. Now, the way to win the game for the coalition is to capture these geographic locations by 11 a.m. The game commences with 8 a.m. 3 20-minute turns per hour. That's not a lot of time. So they have to march a long way to get there, which means they likely have to just march and attack. Now, as we see, there's a very sparse French presence. Some skirmishers in the Pheasantry. It's a beautiful piece of land right there. Some skirmishers along the Goldbach in front of Solkonitz. Some more in the chateau castle there. Backed up by some cavalry, the rest of a light battalion. Coming to their rescue is the rest of Legrand's 3rd Division of Soult's 4th Corps. They will make up the bulk of the defense until the French reinforcements in the south arrive. And we see more coalition troops back here. The slight alteration to the plan, the historical plan, is to have Langeron's 2nd column move to Koblenz, with the object of sweeping through there, grabbing the victory points, and then moving north. They have a long march. Again, very little cavalry. Some Cossacks and a nice dragoon regiment, but basically infantry and artillery. We see the 3rd column with the unpronounceable name guy. His job is going to be to march alongside Langeron, take Pratsa, Puntowitz right over here, and again, together, shift north and move up the stream. So we see the rest of Soult's Corps as a raid on the other side of Puntowitz. Historically, they moved St. Hilaire's division to take Pratsa and come up the high ground, and Vendôme back there moved slightly further to the left, going after the vineyard. Instead of that, we're going to keep them together. they're going to stay focused on Pratza and the south side of the heights. The reason being, the French reinforcements in the shape of Bernadotte will form the left northern side of the pincher. As we move further north, we see the Tsar and the Kaiser, the Emperor, I guess, soon to be stripped of his title of Emperor, occupying the ground on the top of the Protestant Heights. Liechtenstein's cavalry reserve is behind them. And then we come to the Kolarov fourth column. Again, historically, they were supposed to march across the Protestant Heights, down Pratza, down south. The entire coalition plan was to hit the south. Instead, we're going to have them move through these barrier of trees and get as far up onto the Protestant Heights as they can. We want them to be a bastion, sort of a pivot point, so that the other columns can rotate from left to right around their position. They have some good artillery there. I think they can probably put up a good fight and hold on, which will be their only job. No attacking, just defending. Off to the right here, in between the Protestant Heights and the northern flank, is some of Liechtenstein's cavalry, Uvarov's division. Their job is basically to try to maintain some contact between the center and Bagration on the right. There's where we come to Bagration, astride the road and in the trees. His objective is basically rope-a-dope. He wants to prevent the French from making a mad dash up the road, prevent the French from turning onto the Protestant Heights. You see those obscured counters represent Bagration's special talents for hiding his dispositions. So the French will be able to march up to these things and not know if they are real troops or simply dummy counters. The cavalry is occupying the open ground, while the infantry is going to stay in the trees. Gives them the best chance to fight the much stronger French numbers that will be coming their way. Lastly are the Cossacks over here. Cossacks are good at getting in behind people, harassing. They're no good at fighting. So generally they tend to move towards the trees, try to stay on the flanks of the French and draw them out. All the way back, the French are basically only represented by cavalry at this point. 5th Corps, Reserve, 1st Corps, and more reserve heavy cavalry. We see Marshal Lannes all by himself out in front with no one to help him. But never fear, his men are due to arrive very shortly. Essentially, much of the 1st and 5th Corps are just off the map. And there we have Napoleon himself. He is actually stacked with Marshal Soult there, probably having a conversation about how long it'll take Soult to march up and take those heights. But otherwise, the French are very sparse on the north, but it is misleading because they have most of their strength coming right from that position. So the French goal is going to be smash Bagration, get cavalry and infantry, anybody they can, to this exit point. That's how they get victory points. Secondarily, they will move Marshal Bernadotte's 1st Corps to make the left hook to Marshal Soult's right hook on the Protestant Heights. Hopefully they can bust up the 4th Corps and the 4th column on the coalition side, and the 5th column, which has not yet entered yet. They come in, I think, about an hour from this point. So we will start the first game turns, and they will be largely maneuver. They'll go very quickly and not much will happen except out of telnets. But we will do after-action reports for each turn until some really good stuff starts happening.